Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome everybody back to the Thursday, July 14th, 2022 Roanoke County School Board meeting. We've been in closed session briefly. Mr. Hudson, would you please read us out of closed?
Sir, Mr. Chairman, I move that the Roanoke County School Board come out of closed session for the following: to discuss ongoing personnel matters under investigation pursuant to the personnel exemption at 2.2-3711A1 of the Code of Virginia. Also move to certify that to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements under this chapter, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered in the meeting by the school board.
Second.
Motion and a second. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Item 2.03, action from closed session. We do have some action. I move to uphold the superintendent's recommendation to terminate an employee of Roanoke County Public Schools in case 2022-2023, number 1.
Second.
Motion and a second. Madam Clerk, the roll.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Item number 3, again, welcome everybody. Not a real large crowd tonight, but a light agenda also. Everyone would please stand for the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Number 4, announcement of any changes to the agenda. Anybody?
Mr. Chairman, I recommend approval of item number 4.01.
I'll second that. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. All right. Item number 5, hearing of citizens and delegations. During this portion of the meeting, citizens, including students, parents, employees, and Roanoke County citizens, are invited to address the board on matters of public concern in exercise of their First Amendment rights. We do ask speakers to be respectful and civil in their comments and address their comments to the board chair rather than individual board members. Speakers have 3 minutes to make their comments and will be signaled by the lights on the podium. Please be aware that the board members will listen to all comments but are not able to respond. With that, our first speaker, Miss Michelle Brooks.
Hello again.
Hi, Michelle.
Okay. I appreciate the direction the board is going in with regards to the new SROs and the fencing. This is desperately needed, and I think it will help a lot of us who work in schools daily breathe just a bit easier. I also am thrilled to see on the consent agenda tonight the additional compensation of a 1% raise. Thank you. Love that. I love the conversation about Glen Cove, Cundiff, and the CTE Center on Monday, which they all desperately need to be updated. And it was a good, healthy debate with valid points on all sides. I know you are listening. We may not agree on everything, but I do know you are listening. As one board member stated on Monday, RCPS is a good place to work. It is. There are areas of improvement as with any employer, but overall, it's a great place to work. At least I'm very happy. There is an area of improvement that I'd like to discuss tonight. It is apparent that I genuinely believe the library policy is a disservice to the students in Roanoke County schools. First, the librarians need a huge shout out. They have taken the brunt of everything, being hung out to dry in the Roanoke Times, having it implied that they may be ordering pornography and or books with sexual content in them, unbeknownst to them. And as far as I am aware, the district has not made a public statement saying about how wonderful and professional our librarians are. I cannot attest to the middle or high school levels, but in all my years of teaching, I have never seen anything remotely pornographic or anything close to being sexually inappropriate at the elementary level. Librarians are professionals that have a code of ethics that need to be followed, just as police officers, lawyers, nurses, doctors, etc. So thank you to those librarians who've been following that code of ethics for your entire student population. I know many librarians have reached out via email or in person about how impossible this policy is to be implemented. The many things that librarians do yearly, which are taken for granted, will be gone due to no time to implement these activities, and it is the students that will ultimately suffer. I'm thinking of book fairs, Read Across America activities, volunteer reading activities that usually occur due to the hard work of the librarians. Librarians are the heart and center of literacy at the elementary level. Without the wonderful, hard-working librarians to make sure the librarians are literacy-rich environments, our kids would be at a huge disadvantage. Our kids deserve a librarian that is easily accessible, not one that is bogged down with reading and writing summaries of books. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Brooks. Next speaker, Winter Schosberger. Welcome back.
Okay, tonight I have a letter to read to you. Dear Roanoke County Schools leaders, here are some things librarians will be unable to continue under your media selection policy. Win awards like the Golden Apple and the Roanoke Region Librarian of the Year. Participate on RCPS's Technology Planning Committee, their school's yearbook committee, and their school's PBIS committee. Attend and present at state and national conferences. Hold book fairs with family nights, help coordinate readathons and family skate night fundraisers, apply for grants such as project-based learning grants, STEM grants, teacher grants, Virginia Reader's Choice grants, the Picturing America program grant, the Toshiba grant, the Walmart community grant, VEA and RCEA grants, education grants, and classroom scholarships. They'll no longer be able to teach technology in-services at makerspace sessions at Virginia Western and in other parts of the state, and at library in-services for teachers. Perform their duties as webmasters and VA ASL Roanoke Regional Conference directors, proctor tests, help with lunch duty and substitute teach, mentor librarians at the student teaching level, take part in PD through the VA ASL and State Library Association, teach computer classes to students with special disabilities, work with kids who need a break on collaboration days, coordinate reading nights where families get new books to take home, co-teach with their school's art and music teachers to create cross-curriculum activities, visit classrooms for instruction, set up and run breakout box activities for classes, set up equipment for meetings and classes, and act as backup and support for the IT department. Have students in the library for lunches, study hall, independent study and projects, help with laptop distribution, produce their own and collaborate with teachers in developing learning tasks and assessments, collaborate with the science department to instruct and mentor science fair students, develop relationships with students that need a safe space to feel welcomed and supported, collaborate with counselors in helping seniors graduate and be senior sponsors, do book studies with students in the elementary school gifted program, provide the materials for school-wide themed lessons, proofread student research papers, collaborate on multi-week projects with marketing classes, and coordinate the following programs and clubs: Forensics, This Girl Can, Read Across America, Birthday Book Club, Lunch Buddy Book Club, 5th Grade Lunch Club, After School Book Club, VRC Book Club, Lego Club, and the FLL team. A school librarian's job is highly collaborative in nature. They strive to make their libraries welcoming, dynamic places for students to read and learn in, where all are accepted and treated with kindness. They take pride in helping create lovers of reading and learning, and they curate their library collections based upon the interests and educational needs of the students they serve. They go the extra mile in helping with countless educational activities and programs in their schools and in RCPS. They are true givers. Under this policy, for far too many school days each year, they'll shut their library doors and sit alone just reading and reviewing books. We urge you to do the right thing. Bring the librarians back to the table and course correct before the damage from this ill-conceived policy begins, not after we all witness the inevitable troubling fallout from it. This policy will ultimately hurt our children, and surely none of us wants that. Sincerely, Laura Bowman and Winter Schosberger.
Thank you. Next speaker is Courtney Cutright.
Good evening, school board members. Dr. Nicely, I was still writing, so hopefully I can get this all in. I hope your summer's not flying by like mine is. Feels like it's gone really, really fast. Our CEA was really pleased that you're able to do the extra % on salaries. I had some conversations with you, some of you, during the really long budget process that we faced this year, and you were committed to doing more, and I appreciate you following through with that. I got to say something about our librarians, just because I wasn't here last month to talk to you at the meeting where the policy was passed. I just don't see how this policy is going to be carried out without either a reduction in the number of books added to our collection or a reduction in services to our students. I can really only speak about the librarian who I work with at Northside Middle. She's amazing. She not only maintains our library collection of over 10,000 books, she added like 500 titles last year. And this is hugely important because there are a lot of middle school students who don't love to read. They're very reluctant readers, and so putting interesting, relevant, high-interest topics in front of them in books is really important. At Northside Middle, Lauren Sprouse is also very involved in building the community among our staff. She does a lot of contests and competitions. One of my favorite is a poetry challenge during April. She does a poetry challenge for students and staff to participate in and post it online for everybody to look at. So there's just a lot of extra things that happen in the libraries other than librarians checking out books or meeting with classes. But I just feel like some of those programs are going to have to be cut because in order to review the books and to be able to add to the collections. So I've talked to a couple of you about that. I appreciate your willingness to reconsider it if things don't work the way they are. I hope that something can change. Thank you.
Thank you, Courtney. Next speaker, Elisa Downey.
Hi.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thanks for letting me come and speak today. I just want to say thank you to everyone on the board and everyone at central office. I know that you guys have worked really hard to not just accept that we could give people raises like, the 5%. You guys have really pressed and tried to figure out ways to help our income and our raises to go up. And I really appreciate those of you that have been true to your word and you constantly advocate for teacher salary. I really appreciate that. I also appreciate your attention to safety and things like that. I also, as I was here on Monday, I did appreciate the back and forth about the buildings we have. I mean, we have 3 really critical things that need to happen. And I know that there are 2 schools with the open concept, and for them to be redone in 10 years is not acceptable. I think as a community, we have to figure out how we can get that done faster. This is not a you or a them or an us. It's our community somehow. I don't know how to do that. I mean, I know I've suggested the unpopular out-to-eat meals tax with obviously a sundown, but something as a community to do to help us get those buildings built for our kids. The last thing I just want to talk about is I'm really disappointed that the position of Director of Equity and Engagement was cut or will be terminated. I'm very disappointed in that. I think in Roanoke County, we definitely need an outside perspective because if we look around, most of us are of the same background. I know that I look like I'm the same background of you, but I am biracial. My dad was Black. My mom is white. So I think there's a lot of people and students that we have that might not fit in, and there's a lot of students that might not identify the same way that they were born as, and there's a lot of things that we don't understand because we've never been there. We've never had to be in a learning environment where we're the odd person out. So I'm really disappointed that the marginalized group of people won't have a specific person that is their focus. And I'm not saying that Dr. McClung is not going to do the work. Please don't think that. I know that she's working hard. I'm just saying that Roanoke County could really benefit from an outside perspective in this position and from someone who perhaps understands that. So again, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate your hard work from everyone. I know that everyone is doing a really great job of working hard. So thank you. Thank you for letting me come speak.
Thank you, Ms. Downey. And our last speaker, Brian Handy. Welcome back. Fine, thank you.
The new media policy will cause increased labor on our librarians. Beside the increased cost, it will also increase the amount of time they spend on administrative tasks surrounding adding new books to their catalog. One librarian stated that in order to add the same number of books to their library as they did last year, this coming school year would require them to spend 2 to 3 days a week doing nothing but reading, typing reviews, and reading reviews from other staff members. Once that librarian teaches their encore classes for the week, there would be no time left for Dr. Seuss Week, Reading Across America, the book fair, assisting teachers with gathering materials for special projects such as STEM activities and all of the other things that librarians do. This short-sighted policy will end up taking from our children and do little to protect them. About pornography in schools, it should be noticed that the largest source of this in schools is not the library or the librarians, but the cell phone in every student's pocket. If Roanoke County is serious about decreasing the amount of sexually explicit material in our schools, why not pass a county-wide cell phone policy and enforce it? Since it was stated by a member of the board that parents don't have time to parent their children when it comes to the books they read, I'm sure no one would object to you taking on that role either. To scapegoat our librarians as the cause of this is not only disrespectful of them as professionals, but another example of this board being out of touch with what is really happening in schools. In my children's schools, there are teachers who have a mother and a father. Some have 2 mothers or 2 fathers. Some have no parents and are being raised by someone else. And some even identify as transgender. While that may be an uncomfortable thing for some to deal with, it's a reality that schools around the county and the country are going to have to deal with. To remove books that reflect the increasing diversity of Roanoke County schools to appease a few people who cannot accept that public schools are for everyone is the least American thing I can think of. Out of many, we are one, and that many includes everyone. When children read books that they find themselves reflected in, it fosters a love of reading, and when children read books about others around them, it helps them to develop empathy and understanding for people who are different than they are. And after listening to some of the comments in this room at the last meeting, it seems some empathy and understanding is sorely needed in this room. Parents have the right to voice their concerns to you as a board, and it is all parents, not just the ones who voted for you. To voice our concerns is not disrespectful. To question why a board would pass a policy or vote to increase their employer's budget by $180,000 is not overstepping or meddling. It is our right in a democracy to question those decisions.
Thank you, Mr. Handy. All right. On to item number 6, consent agenda. Again, these are all items that have been discussed at either a previous board meeting or a work session. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Make a motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, the roll, please.
Can I make comments here, or should I? No, yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. We have no presentations and recognitions. We don't have any action items tonight. Number 9, information agenda. Recommended policy revisions, Dr. McClung.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. As you know, several times a year, staff conduct a review of current policies and administrative regulations, and we recommend changes based on various factors, including clarity of language, change in practice, change in state code, and recommendations from staff or the Virginia School Boards Association. For each recommended change that you have tonight, we have prepared a summary sheet for you all, an edited version clearly showing the recommended changes, and then again a final version. And as you review this batch of recommended changes, I'm happy to assist with any clarification. And it was quite a few, so I know you all have had them in advance.
All right. Any questions for Dr. McClung? No? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 10, report by Superintendent. Dr. Nicely?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just want to add my thanks to the school board for your support for our revised budget. It's excited to do some meaningful work toward support for our teachers, our employees, in terms of not only the increase in the raise, but also the taking advantage of the state funds for the bonus. So thank you for that support and the other things that you did to support that. Also excited, it's been a big week for us, of course. We're very excited to have announced our new site for our new specialty center. And we did have a meeting after the joint meeting with both boards on Tuesday. We had a meeting yesterday with county staff and discussed some of the questions that arose in terms of next action steps and opportunities for applying for possible some state grants. It's not going to solve all the problems, but there's certainly things that we're going to prepare for and explore and be fully knowledgeable of, take advantage of. So that work is going to move forward and try to keep that momentum moving forward to see that happen. So did have a meeting today with our regional superintendents as well as our area legislators, and has been an annual event in the past and was well attended today by either our local legislators or their liaisons, and had some really good discussions about things that they're working on, and a chance to, of course, share from different school divisions' perspective in terms of how education policy and funding affects each division. So excited to have that opportunity and appreciate all of them coming out this evening or this morning to share and also to listen. Hard to believe, but the next meeting that we'll have will be right in line with our teachers actually starting to return back for a work week and preparing to kick off the next school year. So we look forward to taking advantage of the few summer weeks that are left, but everybody's busily preparing, of course, for the new school year, and we'll look forward to that as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dr. Nicely. All right. Reports and inquiries of board members, item 11. We'll start on the left. Mr. Greenway?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to go with a few of the positives before I get into the fun discussion. Had the opportunity to meet with Courtney and Elisa, and that was a good meeting, and I appreciate your approach. As I've told you before, it's such a much more refreshing approach, and it's easier for us to have that dialogue. We even talked about at that meeting, 80% probably we agree on. There's that 20%. I think this is with everything, really, right? We can even go deeper than that. But I think in this situation for our kids, we agree at least 85% of everything. There's that 10, 15, 20% that we need to work on. And but sitting down and talking, discussing, and having rational conversations, I really appreciate that, and I think we get more accomplished. It wasn't that way before, and now we've got a good working relationship. So, thank you. Yesterday, I had the opportunity. Dr. Nicely and I had lunch with the Vinton administrators, all of our principals, most of the assistants, I think, and we included Bonsack because all the kids come. I've been doing that since I got on the board, and that's a wonderful opportunity to have an informal discussion and talk about life, just different things, not school, just find out about their families or what they're doing and different things. And I really enjoyed that, and it was lighthearted. I don't know, we might have talked about a few items at school, but mostly just enjoyment. And Mr. Kegels, you've been a part of that. So, yep, we enjoy that, and it was a nice time. SROs, a lot of discussion about that. Changed a little bit, going to the Board of Supervisors. I appreciate Brent's and the sheriff's input and suggestions and ideas and coming forward with everything y'all came forward with. I think, I'm still not sure how this is going to work out, but we've gotten them to agree to get 8 officers for schools, and which is a wonderful, I don't care who does it, but they identified schools. Now, I hope we can, I think there's a lot to be worked out between now and then on how we can split those. I don't know if we can split those or if they can collaborate with the sheriff's department for some of their, it didn't sound like that was a real opportunity yet at the supervisor meeting, that it was or they were going to handle it and that's the way it was. But, you know, I want to get these, and I realize it's hard to hire 16 people, you know, right now. But, you know, whatever it takes, however we get those people there, if it's a collaboration, if it's just helping out till they hire people, whatever that takes, I'm good with. But we got to get those SROs in place. And I'm gonna go into a little bit of what's happened this week. I want to first say, and this is more, you'd be surprised how many people catch this at home, because I got a lot of comments from this week. People didn't know, like I didn't know, that we were going to vote on that change to the CIP. But I want to say this first. Every one of these folks, you hear me rant and rave, or maybe they even say some things, but they're good people. We all want the same things, just like, you know, we talked about with RCA. We all agree with 80% of everything. It's that last 15 or 20% that we have to work on. So with that, I've wrote out, and I don't do this, and I hate public speaking, but I wrote out a little something to give me a guideline, because if I don't, I'll miss half of it. This week, many of you reached out to me and thanked me for fighting for the 2 elementary schools and our construction pipeline. I appreciate all the kind comments and words of encouragement, but it wasn't only about the 2 elementary schools, and that's what I want us to remember. We've got to start working on all our schools currently in the pipeline. As we set in the schedule for completing schools, and with the CIP that we adopted the other day, and that was part of the consent agenda. That's what I was going to see if I could talk about, but obviously I'm not going to hold up teacher raises or vote against that. So it was a part of it. I don't necessarily fully agree, but it needs to be done. So with the CIP, keep in mind, that's the CIP. So if we were to stay with this the way it is, and we were talking about Monday, trust me, we'll find out that that's going to move up the schedule. We didn't find out anything. Cove and Cundiff would be done in 2033. These are only 6 schools. Northside Middle would be done in 2036, Catawba District. Cove and Cundiff are Benton, Catawba District. Glenver Elementary is Catawba District. 3 of the 4 first schools are in the Catawba District. Hidden Valley Middle, Windsor Hills, 2040. Burlington, 2042 in the Hollins District. Penn Forest, 2042 in the Cave Spring District. This is 6 of 26 schools. Is this unacceptable? Anyway, it's unacceptable to me. As Mr. Linden states, from time to time, money doesn't grow on trees. When you have the opportunity or the ability to borrow, and we have the money available, you have to seize the moment. Staying within debt ratios, debt limits, we can greatly speed up these projects. But we made a huge mistake this week. We negotiated against ourselves and took 2 schools off the ask list. This made 2 Board of Supervisor members very happy. Politics won the day. The Roanoke County Public Schools will suffer ultimately. Look, I'm not proud to be the bad cop. I'm not the one that wants to be up here ranting all the time or being angry. I wish someone else would take that role for me, but I need help. I can't be the only one fighting to renovate these schools. I need help. At Monday's meeting, Mr. Linden slid in a vote on CIP. He'll dispute that. And so I want to explain what CIP is: capital improvement projects. For anybody listening at home, that's not part of the operating budget. It's 2 separate budgets. He asked for the support of the other board members, of which each board member assured me at the previous meeting that we needed to get all 3 schools done at the same time, not just ask for the one to be done at this time. Well, when asked, Cheryl quickly changed her consideration to moving up BCAT on the top of the list and dropping the other 2 for now. Mike tried to make a decision, but ultimately felt too much pressure, so he sided with Cheryl and David. And then Brent didn't need to make a decision because the other 3 had voted. Make no mistake, we negotiated against ourselves. At the Board of Supervisors' private request to some of our board members, simply ask and hopefully they will be honest that that's the case. We have 2 elementary schools that have 4, or if no one's ever been to Cove or Cundiff, go by and see this. It's amazing what these teachers do. We're talking about how hard it is to get teachers. A pod a little bit bigger than this one, this room has 4 or 5, sometimes 5 classes in those pods. And it's just amazing what they do. One of those elementary schools has 500 kids, open library with no walls, no meeting spaces for small group settings, paneling in some areas, no running water in pre-K classrooms. By the way, Dr. Nicely, can we go ahead and get since we're not going to do this, can we get a estimate of what it would cost to get bathrooms and water to our pre-K? Kind of. We don't even have running water. So when they have to take a kid out, they take them down the hall through the library that's open to a bathroom. You can imagine how tough that is, to teach in that setting. In closing, I want to say, though, I'm extremely passionate about these other schools, too, not just the 2 elementary schools. Putting the 2 elementary schools now will move all the others forward. I don't want this to take away in any way from the announcement Tuesday on BCAT. I fought hard with other board members to get the process started, and hopefully we'll be around to see the first shovel hit the ground on BCAT. Roanoke County needs this for economic development and educational opportunities. We can't be opportunity ready if we don't equip our children with resources to make them ready. Let's do what's right for our kids. Let's fight like heck for our kids. Let's stop all the politics. Be transparent with constituents. One final thought. I just want you to know I have no hidden agenda. I'm not doing this to be mean to our board or to show the lack of foresight or disrespect to our Board of Supervisors. I don't seek media attention. You can ask. I don't talk to the media. I'm not looking for the next term on the school board. I'm not looking for another political office. I don't need the money from this position. I'm simply doing it as a way to get back to my community. I'm fully ready to step down from the board when we put the first shovel in the ground for Cundiff. I'm ready to go. I've told my board members, you want to get rid of me? Let's do it. I've told all the members, put the first shovel in the ground. I'll go away and you won't have to deal with me on these issues anymore. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Greenway. Ms. Fashani.
Tim, that's tough to follow. All right, well, first, let me just say this, Tim. We don't want to get rid of you. We all really do enjoy you. We really do. And I'm just going to say this, we're going to continue to stay positive. We're going to stay positive. I think we're working together. It's a great collaborative effort. And I may be naive, but I'm going to stay positive. So I do have a couple comments. I just wanted to say that I think you guys know that I'm a mom of 4, and I have, out of my 4 children, all will have attended BCAT. And it's near and dear to my heart for many reasons. I'm excited and I'm just thrilled over the momentum that we have moving forward with BCAT and the announcement that we made the other day regarding our new site for our CTE Center. It's exciting, it's wonderful news, and it sure is a great time to live in Roanoke. It was a strong collaborative effort. It will continue to be a strong collaborative effort with our Board of Supervisors, and I really believe it's a win-win for everyone. It's a win for our students, it's a win for our local economy, it's a win for businesses that are here and businesses that have yet to come, and we really hope that that's what we're building. I moved here in 2004. We were recruited to this area, and we moved to Roanoke, not knowing if we were going to live in the city or if we were going to live in the county. And people told us, live in the city. And I said, well, I don't want to send my kids to private school. I'm going to send my kids to county schools. And so we did our homework. We looked at the test scores. We looked at the facilities even. And I will tell you that despite having 4 children at BCAT, I never looked at Burton. And had I looked at Burton, which really is the best kept secret in Roanoke County, I don't know if I would have enrolled my children at Burton because it really, truly looks very old. It's a little dilapidated. And as Tim likes to say, it's a bit of a dump.
It is a bit of a dump.
So the good news is I didn't judge a book by its cover, and my kids applied and they all got in. And I will tell you, the best thing about Burton is not the building. It's the stuff that's inside. It's the teachers, it's the programming, it's the students, it's the spirit. And there truly is a sense of purpose that permeates throughout the entire building amongst the students and the teachers and the staff. And that's important to remember. It's about what's inside. So we've outgrown Burton. We need bigger. We need better. And of course, we want to have the best. We want to have the best programs. We want to have the best facilities to offer. But we also need to get the biggest bang for our buck because, as Tim says, we have other schools that we need to build. And we'll get there. We have to optimize, and we don't need a Taj Mahal. We just don't. We need to be smart. We need to be responsible. And we need to remember that at the end of the day, we are stewards of taxpayers' dollars and our citizens. So I really do look forward to collaborating with the Board of Supervisors. I look forward to put an email out to Ken the other day and said, hey, can we start to investigate some things and do some homework and some analysis and look at programs that are out there at other schools. I'd like us all to tour all the schools. Some of us have toured a couple. We haven't toured a lot. I'm talking about the other centers that are in South Carolina and throughout the state, and really do a thorough analysis and help work with our Citizens Committee and the Board of Supervisors to get there, because we have next steps, and we have to grow, we have to learn, we have to continue to research, and we have to be smart. I really think this is a great opportunity. I think we can do it. I think there's a way to do it, and I'm excited to be a part of it. So stay tuned.
Thank you. Mr. Ray?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We want to be clear. We have done the work on the SROs, which is very important, but it takes time to get them in place. We may not see them until later on in the school year before we can actually get them trained and be able to be in positions. But the best thing about it is we do have it in place, and we did doing the funding, which is also necessary. And as I said, probably at every board meeting, it's too late after something happens. We need to be very proactive on this. We have been proactive, but now we really have dug in, and we really are making it happen now. So we're so I'm so happy that is going to begin. Happy that we were able to do the raises that we did and the extra percentage, and also be able to give bonuses. So it comes around December time, right, Dr. Nicely, which will be right around Christmas. So you get a few more bucks in the pocket. So, but anyway, I can't say enough how much teachers do. I've been visiting my schools this summer and went by one of the elementary schools, and they had summer school. So I was talking to the principal, and then went out and talking to the teachers. Some of the teachers were outside, and some of them were over on a basketball court. And I stopped and got out and talking to the teacher, and it just something compelled me just to stay there and walk them back to the school. And I did. And about the time I'd finished, a car came through the parking lot. Now, I'm not saying it wasn't legit. I'm just saying that, it was just something that made, I felt like I needed to get out and just walk with the kids and the teacher back to the school. And but anyway, it's we're just it's so necessary that we this is it's a sad thing where we are in America today with the violence, with the mass shootings. I mean, we've had mass shootings since July, probably 23, and 2 of them been in Virginia. So, I mean, there's just, you don't know when it's going to happen, but you need to be ready and proactive with this. And we are on the road to that. So, anyway, I hope everyone enjoys the rest of the summer. It's going fast. So enjoy every moment, not every day, every moment. So, but anyway, I thank all our teachers and staff and everyone, because they're the ones that make Roanoke County number one. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ray. Mr. Hudson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I, along with Tim Greenway, really want to push the infrastructure need, looking at Northside Middle, looking at Glen Cove, Cundiff. The buildings are aging, and what we have is definitely not sufficient, and we've got to work collaboratively with the Board of Supervisors in hopes that we can come together on a solution with this, because these schools won't make it till 2040s and stuff. I mean, they're in bad shape now. So, we got to figure out a way to get that fixed, and I look forward to working with the Board of Supervisors on that. And thank you, Sam, in the back there, for the good article in the Roanoke Times. Appreciate that, and hope to see you out when school starts back. Maybe do some good reporting on some awards and things that our teachers and kids, I'm sure, will get moving forward. Speaking of teachers, the 7% raise, I'm a strong proponent of teacher raises. There's no reason why our neighboring districts are making as much as 15% more in some cases what our teachers are making. So I'm proud that we got that done. And with that, we also raised the chart from the start to finish. And also employees 30 years plus, they're getting the same raise. I think it's imperative. And I'm glad that we got that done so we can actively recruit the best of the best, because that's what we want. And we also need to retain. You can't replace experience. It just doesn't happen. So I'm really happy that we got that passed, and I hope that improves with our hiring moving forward. We've done a lot in the last, I was sitting here thinking, in the last 8 months since I've been on the board, we've gotten a lot accomplished, and I'm very proud of it. And I'm just going to name a few things. The sports field improvements. We toured all the fields and determined that there was a great need there. So all 5 high schools, we gave them $50,000 each to improve some much. I mean, Northside we looked at had some serious issues, and I know some of the others, and I think that's really going to be nice starting forward. The kids are going to have some nice fields to play on this year. Field maintenance, traditionally, it's been up to the coaches to take care of the fields, and we know that a lot of our coaches are parents and they're busy, and it's hard to maintain sports fields. So, we've kind of took a step back, looked at plans to improve that, and I'm glad we got that taken care of to where we're going to be able to assist, because it's very important that we provide good fields, safe fields for our kids. It says something to our community when they come to a game and, they're not in a raggedy field or something like that. But, given the opportunity for 6th graders to play sports, I think that's going to be a great thing. I'm looking forward to seeing that as we move forward into this next year. Our playgrounds, we talked about that a few months ago, and I'm glad that we got that taken care of, because our playgrounds were in terrible shape. I mean, there were some that it seemed like 50% of the equipment had caution tape over it, and we couldn't fix it because it's so old that the company no longer made the parts. So I'm looking forward to watching the kids play on some new playgrounds this year. I think Mike mentioned the fencing and the importance of that to keep, cars and kids separated. And I know in some of the schools, the principal's concerns were people wandering onto the property. And I was actually over at Cundiff one day visiting a while back, and there was somebody wandering on the property. And obviously had some uniformed guys with me, and we went out and took care of that situation. But it's important to have our facilities secure. And moving on to the increase of SROs, we don't really know what that's going to look like across the board, but we know that we're doing everything we can to get what we need. We need additional SROs in these schools. That's proven. So I'm happy that we're able to come together and get that taken care of. At the end of the day, I think we're doing a great job. And I think we're giving our kids great educational opportunities, as we should. But no matter how good we are or how good we become, there's always room for improvement. And I'm going to continue to strive to move forward with day by day to make it better for our staff and our children, our community, and trying to be fiscally responsible at the same time. So I'm looking forward to what we're going to be able to accomplish when this new school year starts.
Thank you, Mr. Hudson. I think it's been a great week for Roanoke County Public Schools, starting with the Board of Supervisors and they're agreeing to provide the 8 additional SROs at their meeting Tuesday afternoon. And then we were able to, 7% bonus is, I know, the largest since any of these board members have been on the board, and did not check the history, but there were plenty of years where there were no raises given. Not only the 7%, but the holiday bonus for our teachers. They deserve it. All our employees deserve that. So thankfully the budget worked out that way, and it did take longer than we thought this year, getting the budget finalized in July, but the wait was well worth it. So having secured that land for the new CTE Center, very excited for the Hollins area. It's, I think, a fantastic location. It's something that has been long overdue. 1962, when BCAT was built, and that center is having been to see some of the other facilities in the state. It's amazing just how far behind we really were with our CTE center. So I thought we had a great meeting Tuesday with the Board of Supervisors and the Citizens Committee. I want to publicly thank the Citizens Committee for all the work that they put in to determining the scope of the project. I mean, their first task was to determine the site locations, and I think they did a fantastic job there. The second task, which they just completed, was the scope of the project, and they did agree with just about everything that we had asked for. And we're just excited about what a new CTE center will look like here in Roanoke County. So thank you to the Citizens Committee and all the work they did. I consider Mr. Greenway a friend. We've gotten along very well for many years, even before we were on the board. May have a little disagreement every now and then. We did discuss back at the June work session moving BCAT up on the CIP, and at that time he said, "Go ahead and just do it right now. Do it at this meeting." We weren't ready to do it at the June meeting. We waited and had some discussions, and I think everybody on this board wants to see all three of those facilities done at the same time or in the near future. I fully expect them all to be done well before 2031. And the Board of Supervisors has committed, they're talking about over $100 million for our projects. We need to figure out how we can do that. I'm confident that we will get them done before 2031. So
2033.
Well, as I said, I'm confident that we will get it done before that. So with that, Ms. Cutright was right on the money. The summer is flying by. 4 weeks from today, our students will have had their first day back in school. So teachers, enjoy what little time is left, unfortunately, but at least know that bigger paychecks are coming. So with that, meeting adjourned.